Hey guys, thanks for tuning into my channel again. This next video I'm going to be working on this French Provincial dresser. It has 5 drawers and all of the drawers need repair work. So right now I just started taking off all the hardware and then I'm going to find out exactly what it is I need to do. I believe I need to glue together just about every drawer. Either the dovetail joints came unhinged or the front of the drawer has cracks in it. A few of them, the back panels are actually almost cracked in half. So I definitely have my work cut out for me with this one. This one we're actually going to be keeping. It's the first piece of furniture I'm doing that we're going to keep. I hope to get this done within just a few days. Let's see if I can do that. So I'm gonna remove all the hardware as I started already. Yeah, some of the hardware is destroyed too. This one actually happens to be in decent shape, but some of them are cracked in half. One of them's missing. So I actually ordered new hardware, but I will keep these for another time because some of them, like this one, is in good shape. Yeah, so I'm gonna finish removing the hardware. Then I'm gonna look for what needs to be glued. I'm gonna start gluing and clamping. When the glue dries, I will take all the clamps off and then I will start sanding. Using a cordless drill for this is much faster than doing this by hand with a screwdriver, especially when there's 5 drawers with 2 pieces of hardware on each drawer. This first drawer, the side of it actually cracked in half, so I had to glue it back together and clamp it. Every one of the drawers needed something glued, whether it was the bottom, the sides, or the dovetails. They need to be put back together, such as right here. Please remember to hit the like button if you like what you've seen so far, and please also consider subscribing. I finished repairing all of the drawers and I used some clamps to hold them together until the glue dries. This will make it so everything sets properly. And I also removed all of the hardware. Here it is. Here's a close-up look at it. And once the glue dries, we can start sanding. Here I am sanding the fronts of the drawers. I don't want to sand them down too much. I only want to scuff them up so that the paint adheres to the wood properly. I'm using my 𝑴𝒆𝒊 sander and I'm using some 120 to scuff this up pretty nicely. I don't want to sand down too far, as I said before, but I do want it nicely scuffed so that everything adheres properly. Now I grabbed some 𝑴𝒆𝒊 mud and I'm filling in all of the little scratches and holes that are on the top of the dresser, and there are a lot of them. This dresser definitely took a nice beating. There were some places in the side of the dresser and in the top corner of the dresser right here that were missing chunks of wood, so I filled it in with the mud. I smooth out the mud and I push down on it to make sure the mud fills in the cracks and holes properly. Then I leave it to dry. The mud has dried and I sanded away the excess, and now I am painting the first coat. I do not need primer for this piece because the wood is light and the paint is very dark, and this paint gets really, really good coverage. I keep a spray bottle nearby and I spray the paintbrush every other drawer or so. I like to keep the paintbrush moist. It helps spread the paint a little easier and it does not affect the coverage at all. Unless, of course, you use too much water. Now moving on to painting the sides and the front face of the dresser. As I move along, I am trying to guess if I'm going to need 2 coats or 3 coats. My usual is about 2 coats because the paint usually is thick enough and the coverage is good enough that you don't really need a 3rd coat. On this piece, I only needed 2 coats. At first, it kind of looked like I might need a 3rd coat. It didn't look as if my coverage was good enough, but it is. No 3rd coat was necessary. Some furniture artists only paint the front face of the piece where I am painting right now. I like to paint the whole piece because when the drawers go back, sometimes you can see this piece. So I just go far back, and I also do underneath them as well. And now here I am doing the other side, and then I'll move on to painting the top of it. You can see that I sanded all the mud off the top, and you could see how it filled in all the scratches and the chunks that were missing. You could see how bad this dresser really was. It was in pretty bad shape. But once you sand down the mud, it becomes nice and smooth, and it allows for the paint to go on nice and smooth, as you can see here. Now the first coat is complete. Now I'm starting the second coat. And I'm actually starting the second coat on the top because it doesn't really matter where I start because I let everything dry completely before starting on the second coat. And I just wanted to switch it up a bit because sometimes the second and third time that you paint something, it gets a little monotonous. So here we go with the second coat that gave me the full coverage that I needed. And now here's a short clip of me applying the gold gilding wax to the appliques on the sides of the dressers. I do this with an artist paintbrush. It allows me to get the fine details and keep it kind of like on the top of the applique. I don't want to completely cover the applique. And here's the final product. Thanks for watching.